welcome to the first of our how-to series, where we're going to be talking about how we produce some of our award-winning portrait images, from the initial concept all the way through to the final edit. Hello, my name's Emma Finch and I'm a portrait photographer based in Manchester. Today we're going to be showing you how we created this classic portrait of an iconic character. It is, of course, the Childcatcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. The model is Graham Curry, my business partner for Photography Session Days. Now let's hear from Graham about how he came up with the initial concept.
Hi, Graham here. I first saw the Childcatcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang back in the late 60s in the cinema. And I remember being totally captivated and scared and frightened and mesmerised by the magnificent performance of Robert as the Childcatcher in that film. And anyone that's ever seen the film will remember there are scenes there that are nightmares, they're mesmeric, just a magnificent performance. And during lockdown, it just so happened that I sat down one night and the film was on. And I watched the whole thing from start to finish, and I was equally as scared and mesmerised as a 60-year-old than I was as a small boy. And so I thought, I'd like to put that character together. And I've been looking for new characters constantly for several years. And so with the help of a prosthetic artist who was able to make the noses for me, a makeup artist that was able to shape the face into the character or to produce more of the character that I needed, with a seamstress that was able to make some of the clothes for me, and with all that put together, I presented it to Emma to say, look, can we arrange a photo shoot so that we can come up with some images that we're really proud of, and I hope you like the results.
So the challenge now is, how do we capture the essence of this character? We wanted it to be dark and moody. We wanted to really capture the menace and the evil nature of this character. I wanted to keep it fairly clean and simple, so we chose this dark background. It's got some texture in it, but nothing too distracting. Really wanted to focus the attention on the upper body, particularly the face. Wanted to showcase the makeup artistry, the prosthetic nose, but really focus on Graham's skills as a character model and actor to showcase that evil expression in the face. Now, shooting dark outfit, dark hat, dark hair on a dark background is always challenging. Let me show you how we lit it. So as you can see, we're using two lights here. The key light, which is camera left, is the main light, the light that's doing the most work in the image, and the light to which the Childcatcher will pose towards. The light is positioned slightly higher than chin level. What this will do is it will give a nice definition and shadow under the jawline. The light is also positioned to feather across him. What that means is it's not pointed directly at him. If it was pointed directly at him, we'd end up with a Childcatcher shaped shadow behind on the backdrop. This is pointed across him, which means he gets a nice soft edge of the light. Makes it slightly moodier, but that's what we're looking for with this image. We want it to be dark and moody, as we mentioned before. We like to use the octoboxes because they give a nice circular, natural looking catchlight in the eye. To the right hand side, you can see the fill light, the second light. That's just on a 16th power. What that's doing is it's just separating him from the background. So it's just adding a touch of light to the hat, the hair, the shoulder area with the jacket. Shooting a dark outfit on a dark background can be difficult, and we want to see where the Childcatcher ends and the backdrop starts. So that's just to fill in a few of those shadows behind. As always, we use the Pixapro lights, the Pica 200 Pro. These are very versatile, very reliable, easy to use lights. I prefer to use the bulb head just because it gives a greater spread of light. It's very diffusible. So I'm shooting with a Canon 5D Mark IV. The lens I'm using is the 24-70 lens, which is my workhorse lens, a very versatile lens. I'm using my Pixapro ST3 trigger, which makes it very easy to change the power of the lights just from the trigger. And camera settings, pretty standard for studio, which is f8, ISO 100 and 160 on the speed. So let's take a look at some of the images. So before I show you the final edit, let me show you some of the images we didn't choose and the reasons why. What we found when we were shooting the Childcatcher was that the angle of the nose was really important. The nose is such an integral part of the character that we really need to be able to see the length of it. And when the face is angled towards the camera, such as in this image, we really can't see it, and so we had to discount this image. So we've discussed the angle of the nose, and in this image you can really see the length of the nose, which is great. Now usually when we're teaching a portrait class, we tell you never to break the line of the cheek with the nose, but in this case it's okay because actually there's no other way to do it. The reason we discounted this image is due to the position of the eyes. Generally speaking, showing too much whites in the eyes is a bad thing, and a judge might pull you up on it. In addition, we have half eye showing, which is also a no-no. Having said that, slight side eye, in the case of this particular character, does add that sly, creepy feel, and you'll see that in the final image. So again, in this image, we have the slight side eye, which we've just discussed, but there's also a slight vulnerability in this image to the character, which we didn't want. Due to the angle of the camera shooting slightly higher and the higher angle of the light source, he looks slightly less dominant and therefore less threatening, which doesn't wholly work for this character. So here's the final image. The reason we chose this one is because it encapsulates the character while still maintaining some of the golden rules of portraiture. Yes, it does have slight side eye, and yes, the nose is breaking the line of the cheek, which is technically breaking the rules, but it works for this character. It has a creepy, sly look, which was our intention right from the start. So how did I edit it? Well, in Photoshop, I cropped in, as all the interest for me was in the character of the face. I kept the eyes on the third for impact. Now, placing important details on the third in photography really draws the eye to that area, and with it being a portrait, the eyes are of paramount importance. As you can also see, I removed the lines of the prosthetic nose. I didn't want you to be able to see where the prosthetic nose joined the actual skin. I also tidied up the background to remove any marks or distractions in it. I thinned down the face just a little bit, and I desaturated the whole image just to give it a more classic, cinematic feel. An important element to this edit was that I dodged or lightened the darker areas such as the hat, the hair, the jacket, making sure that there were details in the blacks and to add an additional separation from the background. And then finally, I added a slight cool tone using a texture just on a low opacity to give the image an edgier, more sinister feel. We were delighted that the image won a national award. It made all the effort worthwhile, so a huge thank you to everyone who was involved. So thank you for watching. We hope you've enjoyed our deconstruction of how we created this award-winning image of the Childcatcher. As always, a like and subscribe is very much appreciated. See you next time.